Good morning, dear students. Now, today we will continue with another topic, and that is about classification of equilibrium. The classification of equilibrium is based on the extent. Extent, that means how far the reaction has been completed or how far it is left to be completion. So, classification based on extent to which the reactions proceed to reach equilibrium. Now, to reach equilibrium, that means the maximum amount of the reactant is completely reacted and maximum amount of the product is yielded. When these two different phase, that is reactant, completely reacts and produce a complete product, at that time we can say that reaction has attained equilibrium. And so we can understand that now the thing is static in state. Static in state but dynamic in equilibrium. It means it appears that nothing is going on, but many actions are taking place to complete the reactions. And these are classified into three groups, that is as per the three conditions. So let us understand here. Here I have drawn one complete line with a blue pen, and this line, let us assume that it represents the complete concentration of reactants, that is 100%. Now when reactants start reacting, then products start forming. As soon as the reactants will start reacting, the products will also start forming, and which can be explained by three different conditions. So first of all, let us have a look for the first condition. And here I have again drawn a line, but you can see that line from here to this portion, it is drawn with red, which I want to say that this much reactants are completely used up or they are completely reacted, and that much amount of product is formed, and this much amount is of the reactant is left. So in the terms of extent of 100%, let us consider that the line represents nearly 75% product is formed and only 25% reactant is left. So what we can consider for this condition? So for these conditions, we can say that reactions which proceeds nearly to completion, in which concentration of reactants is less, then we can say that equilibrium attains later. When it will attain? When still this reaction will carry forward to complete this much reactant, and then we can say that equilibrium can be attained. Now second condition, you see this much only is a red line. So this much product is only formed and this much reactant is left. It means very less amount of reactant has undergone the reaction. So this line represents nearly 25% product is formed and 75% reactant is left. So these reactions in which small amount of product is formed and concentration of reactant is more, it means equilibrium has attained very earlier. So that now no more reactants are reacting, because now equilibrium is already attained. Here equilibrium attains later on, and so highest amount of the reactants are kept on reacting. But here equilibrium attains very early stage, and so the reactant stops reacting and less amount of the product is formed. So here we are getting a good amount of product, a desirable amount of product can be attained. Here less amount of product is attained, right? So this is the second condition. Let us see the third condition. You can see here, this is the red portion and this is the blue portion. It is seeming that they are comparable, equal. Either they will consider they are 50-50% or very near to each other 60-40%, right? Or just we can say 55-45%. So these line represents that 50% product is formed and 50% reactant is left. So the reactions in which equal amount of product is formed and concentration of reactant is equally left, or we can say both are very near to each other, then the equilibrium attains at comparable extent. Comparable extent, it means the equal amount of the reacting molecules are converting to the new product, molecules, that is a product, and equilibrium is attained at exact comparable conditions. So these are the conditions which gives us the idea about the reactions is to be carried out. So what we can say that from all these conditions we can conclude that the knowledge of these conditions is very important. Why it is very important? Why we should know that if this much product is formed, it means this much reactant is left out, or this much product is formed, this much reactant is only left. This gives us the idea, and because of this knowledge of conditions, it gives idea that for respective and desirable products to attain, what conditions are to be set. See, if we want a good desirable amount of product, we will have to think that the conditions should be according to this reaction, so that product will be more in number or more in amount formed and reactant to be reacted remains very less. That means equilibrium should not attain very at early stage. It should attain at later stage, and for that such type of conditions is to be maintained in the laboratory or in the commercial field. Respective amount of temperature, respective amount of atmosphere, as well as the type of reactants, it should be optimized. Right? Now suppose a reaction is taking place on iron plate kept in an atmospheric condition. Think what happens. Because of the moisture present in the atmosphere, the iron plate will start getting rusted. Corrosion will take place. Now, do you think that this is the desirable product which we want? That our iron should get rusted at early stage? No, it's not desirable. Our desire is our iron should not get easily rusted, or if no other condition is possible, then it should rust at a very minimum extent. So for that, what type of condition we should prefer? We should prefer the condition of second condition. That is, the equilibrium should attain at a very earlier stage. That means a less amount of the product is formed and a large amount of reactant remains unreacted, or it remains left out. So very less rusting will take place on iron plate, and rest of the iron plate will remain as it is. So this is how we can get a good quality of the product by the desirable and by optimizing the conditions, right? And so it is said that conditions are necessary to be known, and so only we can set the conditions to attain the proper equilibrium. The extent can be controlled by controlling conditions, by controlling the concentration of reactants, and for these all, the optimization operational conditions can be followed. Now, along with this, if I say that water is to be considered, then different types of salts are dissolved in water. We know water contains lot many types of salts in it. And we also know that what is salt? A salt is a compound, in actual sense, a combination of ions, cations and anions. And so If the equilibrium is to be attained in the aqueous solution containing salts, then definitely ions are involved in it or ions are present in it. Then such equilibrium which involves ions in aqueous solution is termed as ionic equilibrium. So yesterday's video, it has given us one word, that is dynamic equilibrium. Dynamic equilibrium, that means a equilibrium which appears to us as a static, stationary, but actually lot other actions are taking place at that moment. That equilibrium is dynamic equilibrium. And here the equilibrium in the aqueous solution which contains salts of positive and negative ion, and when it attains equilibrium, then it is ionic equilibrium. As I told in previous video, or I can say yesterday's video, that equilibrium is possible in both the categories, that is physical processes and chemical processes. So let us first discuss over here about equilibrium in physical processes. The most commonly observed physical processes are phase transformation processes. Physical, a thing which is seen by us, which can be touched by us, which can be understood by us just having a glance on it. This all is termed as physical. And phase transformation means changes taking place in the physical states is termed as phase transformation processes. And physical states are solid, liquids and gases. And when the conversion of these states from one to another is termed as phase transformation processes. These processes are different, like melting, boiling, cooling, freezing, sublimating, right? These are the different processes. And when this processes takes place, we all know these, but let us revise. When solid converts to liquid, it is melting. When liquid converts to vapor, it is boiling. Vapor in a gaseous form, when converts to liquid, it is cooling, that is condensing. Liquid when converts to solid, it is freezing. And solid when directly converts to gas, or gas when directly converts to solid, it is sublimating. So, the phase transformation processes. These are the processes which are considered as the phase transformer. Because of the transformation of one state to another, these are the processes which are carried out. So let us first discuss over here solid to liquid equilibrium. Solid to liquid equilibrium. And to understand this, I have an example here. Here let us have a thermos flask. In this thermos flask, at 273 Kelvin or 0 degrees Celsius and 1 atmospheric pressure or 1.013 bar pressure, an ice cube and a water is filled, and then it is tightly closed with the lid. Now what happens here? After some time, when the observation takes place and the weighing takes place, the masses of ice molecules and water molecules weighs fixed equal. And these gives us the idea that definitely equilibrium has attained. Ice molecule converts into water and water molecule converts into ice. This shows that equilibrium is attained, double arrow. Their masses are fixed. The masses of the ice when measured and masses of the water molecules when measured, both were fixed, both same. This takes place because water in a liquid form adheres, that means it sticks to the molecules on the boundary of the ice, and ice molecule at the same time somewhat goes to the water medium. You might have observed that when water and ice cubes are filled in a thermos flask, and when you open the thermos flask and you try to take out the cube, though capped with the water, then those cubes will come out with a stick to each other. The cubes will easily stick to each other because the conversion of some of the molecules of ice to the liquid, and at the same time conversion of some of the molecule of water liquid to the ice would have prevailed, and now they have attained the equilibrium where no more conversion takes place. You might have observed or you might have experienced that sometimes when you put your finger or your hand on ice, sometimes you would have experienced that you feel that it is sticky over there. It seems like little viscous over there. What takes place here? The molecule of ice, it is actually water molecule, but in a solid form, try to tense to the equality of your body temperature, and at the same time the body temperature is trying to have a tendency to set up with the temperature of the water, that is ice. And at the same moment when the equal amount of transformation takes place, then equilibrium attains, and adhering, that is sticking to each other, is experienced. So here the equilibrium between ice and water takes place because water adheres to ice on the boundary and ice molecules goes to the water medium, liquid to solid and solid to liquid. This appears that nothing is happening now and it has attained the equilibrium. This appears that nothing is happening means it is static, but actually different actions are taking place as transfer of ice and H2O molecule, which is termed as they are in a dynamic equilibrium. Here ice and water are at equilibrium at a particular temperature and a pressure. Particular, see the word, particular temperature and pressure, they are in equilibrium. So before that temperature or above that temperature, it may happen that ice would have completely converted to water, or water would have completely converted to ice if the appropriate temperature for both ice and water was not maintained. So ice and water are at equilibrium at a particular temperature and pressure. So it can be said that at fixed atmosphere, the melting point of solid and freezing point of liquid will be same. At particular atmosphere, melting point of solid. What is the melting point of solid termed as? As soon as at certain atmosphere, certain temperature is attained, the solid, the ice will start converting to liquid. That means melting is taking place. And at the same time, even the molecules of water will even start freezing. That means they will try to solidify. And this is the stage when melting of solid and freezing of liquid will become same at the same rate and at the same point. Then we can say that they have attained equilibrium. And that point is similar. Melting point is 0 degrees Celsius. At the same time, freezing point is also 0 degree Celsius. But it is respective for ice and respective for water. So, in general, what we can say, for any substances at 1 atmosphere, the temperature at which the solid and liquid are in equilibrium is called the normal melting or freezing point. At 1 atmospheric pressure, the temperature at which solid and liquid are in equilibrium. I just give an example that when it is 0 degrees Celsius, what happens? The liquid will start freezing and solid will start melting. So the 0 degree Celsius, or we can say 273 degree Kelvin, can be the equilibrium point or equilibrium temperature, and that particular point is called normal melting or freezing point. At equilibrium, both opposing processes, can we say these are the opposing processes? Yes. Why? Because solid starts melting, it is converting to liquid, and liquid start freezing, that is, it is converting to solid. So both are completely opposite processes, but these processes, they are taking place at the same time. We can say they are parallelly taking place or simultaneously taking place, and as they are taking place simultaneously or at a parallelly, and that too with the same rate. It's not that molecule of ice will convert or adders pass to the water and molecules of water will adders very slowly to the ice, then it will not take place. But if both the molecules are taking place or transforming at the same speed, then we can say that equilibrium attains, and at equilibrium the opposing processes which occur simultaneously and at the same rate is understood. Both opposing processes means melting and freezing takes place at the same rate, that is transferring their molecules at the same time. So this is what the normal or a general equilibrium, which is termed as physical equilibrium, and in which the first is phase transformation, and in phase transformation the first one is solid liquid equilibrium, right? So please go through the video properly, and we'll continue the another topic, and even the phase transformation topic will continue in the next video. By the time, thank you.